Welcome, everyone. This is Pronder Nor. Just recently got moved in, got a new studio set up. Figured I would do a test stream tonight, but also take a look and see what's going on that folks want to take a chat about, and go over all the things that have changed. It's been a really long time since anybody has done a state of the game stream, and a lot has changed since Ramick retired in the community. And I thought maybe folks might actually want to talk about what's going on. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. We'll just have to see. Hopefully the audio is okay. If not, just let me know in chat. If you don't have a beverage, go grab one, and we're going to shoot the shit and do everything that go over what all has happened. So one of the biggest things that has happened recently, Broadsword took the Dark Age of Camelot site and they are updating the server backend. They haven't said what their plans are. I know from a community perspective, everybody's been chomping at the bit, telling them to get off their ass and update the website because it's old. That's true. It hasn't received an update. No, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years with actual content other than Carol's, her community updates and whatnot, but like everybody knows that everything on the website is out of date, and it's just kind of sad. So hopefully what we're seeing is the start of some goodness there. They've got the character and guild search offline, doing some work on the back end of that as well. So hopefully we see that come back soon. Don't know whether or not we're going to see any enhanced functionality or not, but you can always hope. One of the things that I wanted to touch on is the new patch. So I'm going to see if this browser site loads. There we go. So a couple of weeks ago now, Broadsword released patch 1.129b, and there were a couple of things that were pretty long overdue that were pretty welcome, in my opinion. One of the big things being you can now /train anywhere. I know people have been begging for that for absolutely ever, and I thought it was absolutely awesome that they got around to implementing that finally. Absolutely a positive impact, just pure convenience, and I'm hoping we see more quality of life like this over time. You still have to respec at your actual trainer, and your realm abilities being respect as well still have to be done at the trainer, and you can still only respec twice a day. But I think that it's a step in the right direction, and I personally am quite happy that you can now /train anywhere, especially someone that enjoys PvE. Over on the Gahara server, it is going to be really nice because I'm getting ready to roll a new Bone Dancer, because I haven't played personally in about 6 months because I had to pack up and move across the country for a job, and finally got situated. So you can see the new studio and whatnot behind me. So definitely happy to be back, and hope to be seeing everybody around a little bit more in game and in Discord and whatnot. The next thing they did in the patch was for repairing items. So now the player smith, the smith NPC will now repair everything, both what's worn and in your inventory. And if you don't wish for it to be repaired, you just place it in your vault or your bank. If you just hand one item to the Smith NPC, it will just repair that one item. But if you right click on them, it's going to take care of everything that you're currently wearing. Same thing goes for the recharger NPC. And with that, they took the housing discount away. I'm not really sure why they did that, but is what it is. Not really too sure on that one. But it is nice. People have been asking for that for quite a while, to just be able to recharge everything at once instead of having to hand in your entire set one by one of all your gear. For inventory changes, your saddlebags can now be accessed and used without having to summon your mount. And your vault window or your /bank will now remain open when you're moving. I know some people have not quite gotten used to it yet, and they're taking off, walking and running or whatever, and wondering why their vaults didn't auto close. But very happy to see this. It's going to make pot management and item management a whole lot easier on the move instead of having to sit down and chill. Takes a little bit of getting used to, I guess, if you're kind of in a habit of how you play. But I think it's a nice quality of life change. For the group window indicators, they updated it to where rooted group members will now show a yellow colored name in a group window, and stunned group members will now show the blue colored name in their group window. And they removed the link dead group window indicator. Being able to see who's rooted and stunned visually on a healer helper or something like that, I think will, again, long overdue. Very nice to see. A lot of good stuff that people have been asking for quite some time. Stacked items. People have been asking for quite some time as well. Hey, can we /use this stuff instead of having to go unstack it one at a time, to the point that people are writing scripts to help them stack and unstack and open potions? And it's nice now, especially if you're blowing through your bounty points on pots looking for comp pots or whatever. Now you can just /use all of the different stones for respecs and for realm respec or for XP respec, your boxes of rare potions, your boxes of rare alchemy components, your magic orbs, and all 3 realms doppelganger shards can just be /used. So you could literally just throw it on your hotbar and just mash the key down until your inventory is full. And it's a whole hell of a lot more convenient than it used to be. A little bit of love for the solo community. The /stats command now displays the solo kill stats, and you can also do /stats space solo kills to see who has the top 20 for solo kills right now. A little bit of love there for that community. The bonuses window will now display artifact bonuses. They added a Smith NPC to each room's capital city throne room. A Water Breath NPC was added to each room's portal keep in the Wilton Battleground, so that you don't have to worry about going to get a pot and housing to go to Wilton. And they reduced the amount of quests required for the Tribute Victor quest that you can get in the capital cities to now 20 towers. And they added enhancement NPCs to every haven in the Trials of Atlantis zone of each realm, so that you can get buffs. And then they added a Astral Merchant from Trials of Atlantis to the Traveling Merchants, so now we can get more of that stuff. Hopefully we see more merchants come in soon. I personally still miss not being able to get some of the Dragon Scale related things, especially now that scales no longer drop. I say now, that's been quite some time since bounty points were a thing, but Beast, are you sure you were only questioned? Got some bug fixes in, so it took a while, but they just fix the issue around weapon trails displaying as white and gray, and they should be showing up as their intended color now based on the type of skill that's used. They included some screenshots in the patch notes. Beast is over in Discord being silly. And then tooltips. They went through and they did not list all of the tooltips that were updated in patch notes. But they fixed an absolute plethora of them, and that's awesome to see. There was quite a few things that over the years had just gotten sideways, and was glad to see a focus on not just quality of life, but just plain quality. Some people might say that that's been lacking for a while overall. And I think it's awesome to see them putting the effort into the game with some of these things that have just been bugging us forever. They're still working on realm ability and master level tooltips, but I believe the styles and the magic items were all gone through. And if you still see something that needs to be fixed, put in a bug report in Discord and the bug reports channel, and hopefully they will be able to snag an update for it. And then we saw some general bug fixes as well. In Albion, the quests obtained from Wikoessa and Oceanus are now repeatable to be consistent with the Midgard and Hibernia versions. This especially is good news on the Gaheris PvE/co-op server, because Albion is the only realm that is there for their TOA server zones. So those quests were bugged for everyone on that particular server. Focused Will, the champion level mez reduction, will now refresh its duration on recast, and the legacy of will now direct players to defeat somebody in the Bell Rift in Shiro Hills. Stupid ads. And a gateway fill message was updated to reflect more detailed information. So definitely a lot of nice attention to detail in this patch. And I know there's probably other things that people are like, oh, well, I wish they would have fixed this or fixed that or whatever. But I think that this was a good push from Broadsword on fixing some things that, even though some people may say weren't that big of a deal, I'm definitely glad that some of these really long-term complaints have been resolved. I'm not sure how other people might feel. Feel free to comment in chat and let me know if you agree or disagree. I think that it was really cool to see in this patch that Broadsword took the time to actually go in and do their homework on some tedious things. This wasn't just something that was slapped together. It actually takes a lot of time to go through, and like the tooltip update, that took who knows how many hours of going through whatever kind of spaghetti mess these guys are having to manage. And if you were on the ad break, welcome back. I'm just glad to see that that Broadsword's putting in some diligence towards actual quality. I feel like that the current patch level of the game itself is pretty good right now. But some of the stuff was just absolutely long overdue, and very happy to see it. Got some class changes for the Armsman. They did a bug fix, and Rampage now correctly blocks the resist debuffs for all group members. The Banshee bug fix for their starting stats optimization now correctly optimizes int instead of strength. No telling who would have even noticed that from like a noob or a casual perspective? The Bone Dancer mock ability of the Sable Totem and the Darkness spec line will now apply instantly after deployment. The Cleric got the Hand of God and Divine Light no longer share the same reuse timer, but Divine Light now shares the same reuse timer as Holy Light and Pure Light. The Druid's Nature Cocoon and Free Wind D-Root no longer share the same reuse timer. The Hero Spirit of the Hunt Stagmorph reuse timer was reduced from 20 minutes down to 15 minutes. There was a bit of a comment about that in Discord when the patch went live about, was it enough? Was it too much? I don't know. Personally, I haven't been able to play too much, and hoping to try my hero out soon and see what I think about it personally. And then also for the hero, the Rampage now correctly blocks the resist debuffs for all group members as well. Maulers, not that they needed some love, but they got some. For level 42, the Perfect Discipline of Loresh went from 33 to 28 delve. Level 32, the Greater Discipline of Loresh went from a 25 to 20 delve. Level 22, the Major Discipline of Loresh went from a 21 to a 16 delve. And level 12, Discipline of Loresh went from 18 to 13 delve. And then the haste debuff reuse timer was increased from 20 seconds to 60 seconds. So it was a little bit of a nerf on their debuff. But they got what many people consider to be a big buff by having Phoenix Strike now be a follow-up style to the Anytime Owl Strike. But they did reduce the DD proc from 145 to 130 on Phoenix Strike. But a lot of people suck ass at landing positional, so there's been quite a few folks who are like, hey, they actually made Maulers a little bit easier, and they were more than good enough already. Again, I haven't really got to play that much this year, so I might have to go dust off the Mauler and see what I think about the mixture of this particular change. And then for the Necromancer, they reduced their rampage duration from 45 seconds to 20 seconds, and the reuse timer increased from 90 seconds to 180 seconds. And that's on their ignore line. So like the level 49, ignore depletion, level 39, ignore impunity, so on and so forth. And then their magic conversion spells went from being grouped to self only. So no more of having that apply to everyone. And then their AOM charges now stack with the Necromancer's Thonic 10% secondary magic resists. So that's a bit of a boon there. And then their bug fix for their 10% magic resist buff now applying correctly. I guess I'll have to go check that out too. I got a lot of catching up to do after being AFK for a few months. Sorcerer, the Telekinesis spec line had a couple of changes. Their level 50 Disintegrating Force damage increased from 89 to 121. Their level 49 Major Constricting Blast damage increased from 179 to 189. It can now be even more annoying on a Sorc. I feel like that's their job, is to just be the most annoying fucker in Albion. Vamps, they had their range spells decreased from 1,500 to 750 units. So that's the Vampers, Inferno, so on and so forth line. I guess I'm going to have to go try my Vamp out as well. Wardens had a bug fix for the Stone Temper style. Will now correctly fail if the prerequisite style Stone Shaper fails. And then the Stone Temper Absorb debuff is now unresistible. Warlock. The Realm Rank 5 ability, Bedazzled, had its duration reduced from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, and its fumble reduced from 50 to 30%. I still hate every time Warlocks take a bit of a nerf, but I miss the OG. And then the instant damage overtime spells in the Witchcraft spec line had their reuse timer changed. Dread was not changed, but Lesser Dread is now 12 seconds. Minor Dread is now 12 seconds. And Weak Dread is now 12 seconds. One nice thing that Warlock's got, the Spell of Power and Spell of Regeneration are now castable while moving. So you don't have to pause to get your regens going while you're running around. And then the following spells in the Witchcraft spec line were adjusted as follows. The level 49 Greater Spell of Absorption went from 31 to 26. Spell of Absorption at level 43 went from a 26 to a 21 delve. Level 33 Lesser Spell of Absorption went from 21 to 16. Level 24 Greater Spell of Protection went from 17 to 12. And the level 13 Spell of Protection went from 13 down to 8. And the Warrior had the same heavy tank fix everybody else got. Rampage now correctly blocks resist debuffs for all group members. And then a general change for all classes. All of the hindered styles, or peels as you might call them, have had their snare increase from 40% to 50%. So that's a nice little thing for your healers out there. Realm abilities. They fixed the charge animation. Some people would say I didn't know it was broke. But yeah, now you can actually see a little bit better when somebody goes into charge and starts coming at you. Another nice quality of life fix. And then for the PvE co-op server, Gaheris, some things specifically in this patch went in for them for some love. They added Lambent Seals, which is how on Gaheris people get realm points by turning in seals. You don't get realm points from killing players because there's no PvP or RBR there. So in this particular patch, Broadsword gave the co-op server some love and added in a Darkness Falls quest called Purge the Depths, and tells you to go defeat Legion and the princes and the princess and the High Lords and then the worm. You do that and you get a stack of stuff as well. And then in Shrouded Isles, they added it to Apocalypse and Focus, whatever the hell you call that, Focus Game, and then Queen Kula and King Tusker, which is probably one of my favorite things to go do in SI, is to head down there and go see all the Ice Lords. And then I love that they took the opportunity of adding these quests, and shortly after Grobatir passed away a few years ago, they added him and his cat Sigan into the Relic Town on the servers to hand out some quests, and they were PvP focused. So the NPC still existed on Gaheris, but you couldn't do the actual quest. So I thought it was cool that they went back and updated that specifically to get a quest on the Gaheris server from him to go out to SI and do the Evil in the Isles quests. And then they also added a new NPC, Thalaros and Oceanus, to obtain a quest called In the Eternal. And you have to go beat any 6 of the ML whatever .10 boss encounters. You don't have to do all 10 of them. You just have to do 6 of them. So pick your favorites and go. And then on the keeps there, they added Lambent Seals to each keep boss. And then also they added a quest to Grobo in the Relic Towns to do a Lord's Defeat quest. And you go kill any 9 keep bosses. And then they also cut the spawn time on the keep bosses in half. So instead of every 2 hours now, you get a 1 hour timer so that you're not sitting out there in New Frontiers in the PvE server and unable to go actually do anything. And then they also added seals to the relic bosses and cut the relic timers in half. And that wraps up the content of the patch. I thought that was some great work by Broadsword there. I wish it would have come a long time ago, personally, but happy to see it now. And then they rolled right out of this patch and started a new event. So they have the Crossroads Head Hunting event, which, if you're into lore, apparently some Master Assassin headhunters emerged and brought out some things to do out in NF. So basically, you get a Deadheads quest and go out to Hadrian's Wall, Odin's Gate, Emain Maka, or EV. Kill 20 players if you're grouped, 5 if you're solo. And after you've done it once, it's auto-repeatable, but the first time you've got to go turn it in to get the reward. /use the heads once you have 20 of them. Make sure you /use it if you have 20. Vault anything over that so that it doesn't eat them all, being a almost 24-year-old game in a week and a half. That's just one of the things, that's just the way the tech works. And the heads will only drop in the event areas. Question from the chat: is DAoC wholly now Broadsword's IP, or does EA still have fingers on it? Asking due to yesterday's EA news. So specifically, Electronic Arts owns the intellectual property rights and does the billing for DAoC. Broadsword is under a management and operations contract, I guess you could call it. And so they manage Dark Age of Camelot and Ultima Online, and then I believe the Star Wars game as well, that they took over from EA. So they manage those 3 legacy MMO games on behalf of EA, but it does not change who actually owns the intellectual property. And we can dive into that a little more if you like. But basically, the sale of Electronic Arts was announced that it's going private. The sale was announced yesterday on the 29th of September 2025, but that doesn't mean that EA has already sold. The vote's not actually happening for quite some time. The shareholders of the company have to actually agree to go private. I am betting that they will, because a $55 billion valuation is absolutely nuts. But the Saudis want to diversify. So I'd be surprised if the deal doesn't go through. This has people up in arms about whatever their intellectual property of choice is, not just DAoC. If it's an EA owned product, people are curious right now, where is that going to take us? There's also been speculation of would this be a good time for EA to unload some of their more niche IPs and things like that? And I guess the answer right now is we'll just have to see. People were asking questions in DAoC Discord about it yesterday, and basically the answer was they don't know either. And there's going to be meetings about it, and when they know something that they can share, they will absolutely let the community know. But for now, it's just business as usual, and probably will be for quite some time until the deal actually closes and the lawyers get done, let all the dust settle. So you're probably looking at I don't know, a year and a half before there's any real actual change. Let's see. Let me just go pull that up real quick. There, news. Go away. Electronic Arts announces agreement to be acquired by yada yada yada, the largest all-cash sponsor, take private investment in history. Accelerates Electronic Arts' vision to advance the future of entertainment. Stockholders will receive $210 per share in cash, representing a 25% premium to unaffected share price, and it is the largest all-cash sponsor, take private investment in history. Blah, blah. Bunch of financial dudes speak. They really keep hitting home that this is the largest all-cash sponsor, take private investment. EA is a special company, a global leader in interactive entertainment, anchored by its premier sports franchise, accelerating revenue growth and strong scaling free cash flow. Honored to invest and partner with their CEO, who's doubled revenue, nearly tripled whatever that is, and driven a fivefold increase in market cap. Future for EA is bright. They're going to invest heavily to grow the business. Is approved by the board of directors for Electronic Arts and is expected to close in Q1 of fiscal year 27. Subject to customary closing conditions, including receipt of required regulatory approvals and approval by EA stockholders. So it's not done yet, but I would expect it to be. To roll over PIF's existing stake plus cash. Equity investment of $36 billion, $20 billion of debt financing fully and solely committed by JP Morgan Chase Bank, 18 of which is expected to be funded at close. But yeah, it's fiscal year 2027. So whenever their fiscal year 27 hits, I mean, that could be a year and a half out. So yeah, being bought out by PIF, which is basically the Saudis diversifying their wealth, and Silver Lake and Affinity investment firms. The problem that I have with this, these private takeovers traditionally, they streamline, in their minds anyway, the business. So I definitely see why people would have pause about a niche game like Dark Age of Camelot, and how does that play into the larger portfolio of Electronic Arts. And they don't really release numbers about DAoC now. Going private, they could choose to release numbers, but I am betting that they won't. But I could definitely see where there would be some concern about what's going to happen to the game Are they just gonna shutter it? Is it actually making money? In the community, we have no idea. We don't really know one way or the other what is going on from a dollars and cents perspective. All we know is whether or not we pay our subscription fee. And I think the last time anybody did any serious looking to see how many subs there were, I think it was when Amber was still around, and he did some big brain math based on cruising housing on the Yuan cluster, and he estimated that there were about, I want to say, over 8,000 active subs, and that was about 3 years ago. But I personally have absolutely no idea how many subs there are. Nobody really knows what that looks like. Broadsword doesn't really share it. I don't think they can because EA owns the billing side of the house, so EA doesn't really share that kind of information about everything. They never really have. But I am hopeful that the game gets to stick around. We're almost a quarter century in. We got our 24th anniversary of Dark Age of Camelot coming up in a couple of weeks. Just have to see how it goes. But trophy hunting. Back to the event. You complete the Deadheads quest 20 times, and you get some heads to put on the little mantle thing that they released while I was on break on your headhunting shrine, or you can place them individually in housing, 1 trophy per turn-in. The headhunting shrine is not offered as part of these quests, so if you don't already have the shrine, I guess you're SOL for now. Maybe they'll bring it back again in the future. We'll just have to see. And they have another one called Stronghold Strike. Capture the ruined keeps and slay the enemy in your way. Take Beano, Bled, or DC1 and slay 5 enemies. You get a Midsummer Battlefield potion upon your first completion and rel points with all completions. Due to the reward, the first time you have to turn it in, and after that it will auto-renew and auto-complete after you get your kills. And then after you complete Headhunting Stronghold Strike 20 times, you get a Veteran Battlefield pot on your first completion, realm points with all completions. And again, the first time you have to turn it in, after that it will auto-renew and auto-complete. Added Headless Battle. Slay enemies to summon and defeat the Headless Paladin, Headless Warrior, or Headless Champion. Albion gets the Paladin on the roof of Beano. Midgardians will do their Warrior on the roof of Bled, and the Hibbies will spawn their Champion on the roof of DC1. Solo kills will count as a double kill on the spawn counter of that round's Headless counter, and a message will broadcast when each encounter starts and is defeated. The quest is area credit within the region of the Crossroads. However, if you are stealthed or dead past a certain time, you don't get credit. So no more AFKing on a stealther and just collecting credit. No more sitting there on your res sick timer for the entire time getting credit as well. I want to say the last time they had that res sick timer, it was half of the not res sick but dead sick. After you were dead, half of the timer once that passed was when you didn't get credit anymore. So I'm guessing it's similar. And then they replaced the daily for the realm quest with a new one called the Realm War quests. And they will scale once completed and auto-renew and auto-complete, which I think is cool that they've started making a lot of these quests auto-renew so you don't have to go get them again. You can finish your last daily if it was still in there, but you're not going to be able to get it again. And then then Investigate Crystal's Quest and the Doppelganger Spawns and Ruined Keeps are sticking around for the duration of this event, which is running until Tuesday, October 14th. The solo ports at Folly, Trelly, and Moy were disabled for the event, and there is a 30% realm point bonus active in Hadrian's Wall, E-Main, Maka, Odin's Gate, and EV. And then they also tweaked it with an update. So a little tweak on boats. The docks at Beano Bled and DC1 can now be used by players from any realm, and they removed the trackers, but the P node will remain, so stealthers can't just camp there. But now anybody can go to the beachhead keeps across realms. Seen some good feedback in Discord on that. And then they also added a Magic Head Orb, so players killed within the event areas will now have a chance to drop a Magic Head Orb, which when used will create a random object generator item in the player's inventory. The orb heads do stack and can be /used from stacks, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I believe I read in Discord that it's up to 5 different random stats on the ROG that drops, and also some interesting /uses. So a little bit more of an incentive to get out there. We have the month of October coming up tomorrow, and there's some really cool things for DAoC players that always come with the annual anniversary event. I have absolutely no idea what Broadsword has planned this year. I'm hoping it's cool. Based on recent activity, I'm going to assume that they have something cool planned, because we just saw this patch drop. We rolled right into another event. They just tweaked the event to make it even a little sweeter. Usually the anniversary month sees a surge in population, which, to be honest, right now is desperately needed. And then, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Something that I am hoping, let's see, we got an ad break going for anybody that doesn't have the little skip ads on Twitch sub that I have. So let's see. So I'll finish rambling on my thoughts about the anniversary while we're waiting on the ad. A couple of years ago, for the 20th anniversary, they did a really cool quest line, and that was when the realm-specific mounts came out for the where you had to go PvE with some areas nobody had been to in a while, and they put in some really cool souped up mobs that you had to go kill. I don't know that we'll necessarily see that again, but I'm hoping that we see something cool and different, something to shake things up a little bit. It's only the 24th anniversary. It's not the 25th, so we're not quite to, the whole quarter century coming up in 2026. Hopefully something for the 25th anniversary comes out big, but this year's only 24. But hopefully we'll see some renewed interest there. One of the things that I wanted to highlight, and I'm hoping to start doing these state of the games, probably not as frequently as Ramek did on back when he was hosting his DAoC State of the Game, but at least once or twice a month, pop in and see what's going on and chat. But I wanted to take a look at something that has come out and become a very valuable resource in the community, and that's DAoC Buddy. Everybody probably remembers when DAoC Utils was around, and it was where everybody went for templates and all that kind of stuff. Then DAoC Utils closed, and then Gear Bunny retired. And he was nice enough to let me, Gear Bunny was nice enough to let me host his product on my site so that people could still get it and use it if they wanted to. But there wasn't a online template maker anymore. And Axel stepped in and flipping built one from scratch, which is absolutely awesome. He is a absolutely amazing community resource. He's a mod with me over in DAoC official Discord as well. Good dude from my personal interactions with him, and absolutely can't say enough about how cool it is that he wrote DAoC Buddy, which does a couple of things that people were missing. So it will track your tunes, so kind of similar to the Chimp from back in the day, where you can see what your tunes are and how many realm points they've got and stack it across your realm and things like that. But also has the ability for you to go in and build templates and share them or make them public, so you can do that as well. And he took the JSON item database that Broadsword has and cleaned it up, and he's added new things to it that have been released since that big file dump. And then if you go into public templates, you can go in and see, hey, I'm looking for a Spirit Master template, and you can come in here and see what somebody has made. This has been around for a while, but I don't think it gets enough advertisement because it's an amazing community resource. So you can come in here and see that Toe Jam's made this SM Mangled Nerf template and shared it public, and it's got all the stats, resistances, skills, bonuses, and abilities, just like we're always used to. Pretty cool the way that it was built. Obviously, it's online only, so you can't do anything from a local perspective, but it works great on your phone or your tablet or your computer. And then you can also click the little button and download it. And save it as a text file, similar to the way you could with Gear Bunny and whatnot back in the day. And then you can also go in, and if it's, let's see, no, I'm not signed in on this computer, so I can't demo it, but he also made it to where you, if you're editing your own template, and maybe I'll do that next time around, I'll go in and change it to where we can go through and build a template, but it gives you a list of things that are usable in that item slot. So you're not going to see things that your class can't actually use. So that kind of helps people out there. Pretty flipping cool, in my opinion. And then he's also got it to where you can flop back and forth between Gaharis and Uwain. For the characters, I don't have it set up right now, so I can't demo it because this was an afterthought on my part. But I thought it was pretty cool that Axel took the time to build this, and he's got his own Discord as well, and you can go to DAoCbuddy.com and check it out. I'll drop a link in chat just in case. Yeah, so Axel is the shit. That was kind of the point of this. Very glad that he built this program, and happy to see people like him in the community. Um, we talked about earlier, Broadsword is updating their website. Hopefully, we'll see some official functionality coming someday out of that. I know people like Axel have asked for enhanced API functionality to be able to build better products and things like that, because right now the API is fairly limited with what they can do from a character perspective. We also don't have a skill planner that's been updated. Excidio is still the only thing that's out there right now. And that hasn't been updated in, like, I want to say 8 years. Yeah. So if we go over to Excidio, see when the last time, yeah, almost 8 years since Excidio was updated. From a chair planner perspective, but it's the best that we've got right now outside of the /train window in the game. But one thing that is awesome over here that still works is the Herald. So it still updates on a once a week basis for the actual tracking, but if you click into a tune, it'll give you the live stats from the Broadsword API. So, like here, it says running's got 968,529,091 RPs. You notice when you click on him, it pulls up an individual character page, and there's more RPs there because this was a live pull from Broadsword's API, whereas the statistic is only refreshed once a week. But this is probably the only place, might not be the only places. I think it's one of two places. I think there's a UK site that does a similar thing where they scrape once a week. I just don't remember the URL off the top of my cranium. But you can look and see, like last week on Uwain, it's like the Alps pulled in the most RPs. Hopefully, we'll get this type of functionality back on Broadsword's darkageofcamelot.com website soon, but who knows? And then they also have who was the last week for overall realm points for individual players. We had the most actual kills, which is a much different stat in the day of PVM rewards for RPs on the RVR server. Used to be tied directly to actual kills and keep takes, and now there's multiple ways to earn RP there. Death blows, we had 247. Solo kills, deaths, always fun to go see who face planted the most. We got RP reset. Major. No ripweeds. And also who was deleted. overall on guilds for you, Wayne, looks like some internal ones. And then it's like Legend overpassed Heroes Guild. Wow, Dark Knights Camelot's still up there. And also have the same type of stats over on Geharis. So you can see which guild has the most. Looks like Tonka currently has the most over there. Who was busiest in the last week? He resets. Characters have the most. Looks like there's a few. There are 43 tunes on Geharis that are at max cap. $2 billion number is as high as it can go. The game literally doesn't support anything higher. Also, why that's my tag in Discord. And then back over on the Wayne side, there's also stats that you can pull. I don't know if it keeps that kind of history or not. We can look and see. Keeps a running tally. He's were most earned. Only a year back though. Let me see if I can find the other website that tracks name changes, because there is one. So, the other tracker is DAoC.doughnuts.co.uk. So if we go over there, wait on it to load. All right. They kind of track a little bit of everything here. Player name changes. Still thinking. He said QQUU. Let's see. Back to 2020. So, not found. No dice. Because, yeah, this is only able to track changes from when it started tracking the API back in 2020. It looks like the most recent. Let's see. Come on, mouse. Go. Yeah, it's got stuff from now. Any other mysteries we need to solve? Outside of why am I so thirsty? What else do they have over here? Well, this site has a couple of things that are a little bit different. So, like, it's got at the top of the page total guilds on you, Wayne, total number of characters that it's tracking, who's been online in the last 7 days. So that's not a count of people, that's a count of players or individual tunes. So in the last 7 days, there have been 8,530 tunes logged into you, Wayne, that it has registered doing its little API crawl. How many of those are individual people is hard to say. You got some people that don't play that many different tunes, then you got other people that might have hundreds, so it's kind of hard to say. Then on the main page, it's got a news feed. Like on mid, it's telling you that somebody changed guilds, that somebody gained a realm rank, somebody's name changed, so on and so forth. Same thing over on HIB. It's got for characters and stuff. Trackers like this are also best effort because there's no index on the API that Broadsword maintains, so you kind of have to crawl it. So slow tonight. So very similar to Excidio there. Same thing on guilds. Information. Let's see what's there. Bloodcore, this might be the quietest I've ever seen you in chat, man. Let's see. So this is just a list of realm ranks, apparently. So it's just the just how many realm points versus how many realm ability points versus what our level it is, and then the titles, top crafters. It's kind of cool. It's like up is the top crafter on the server. Let's see what this looks like when it pulls all the data in. That tells you how many realm points to your next level. That's kind of cool. Done quite a bit of crafting. He's almost got everything capped at 1165. That's cool. Guild emblems. Guessing this is a guild emblem browser so that you can see what you want to pull before actually trying to do it in game. Nope. It's showing you all the emblems of the actual guilds. That's kind of cool. Thought it was going to be one where you could preview what yours look like if you wanted to build it, but that's kind of cool that it's just a list of all the guilds that are out there, their emblems. Guild levels. See what's going on there. Probably just a list of which guilds have the most RPs. Nope. It's a list of the actual guild levels. That outside of bragging rights, I don't necessarily know that anything's ever been done with. And the list of titles. Yeah, you've been loving that D4, man. Me too. Figured I would springboard this into me actually streaming DAoC again, though. We'll see how it goes. Yep, so list of titles. That's kind of cool. Here. Well, that was all I had from things to go look at perspective. Maybe hours, maybe more. That means you're having fun, dude. Super glad to see that you're having fun. Very nice. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you guys don't have any other questions or anything in chat, appreciate you tuning in. I know there's only a handful of us. Also, the first time I've done this, and I'm West Coast now, so it's late as hell. But I'll probably throw this on YouTube or something. I don't know. We'll see. Might publish a VOD. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thanks for hanging out. I've been rambling for like an hour and change. So you guys have a good evening. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Catch you later.